Those are pup thoughts right there, I guess. I don't know. I am just a pup.
Are you sure we should get started?
We should get started with a
Okay.
thing and a stuff.
This is Bearly Furcasting featuring Taebyn, an Injured Nerves audio production. Well, hello and welcome to Bearly Furcasting featuring Taebyn. Speaking with me today is Taebyn. Bark, bark.
Hi. It is. That is a very true statement that you just said there, Bearly.
And who am I?
Yes. So, hi. Yes, this is Bearly. I say hi, Bearly.
Hi, Bearly. I can barely say hi.
You can barely say hi.
Oh,
my. And my name is Taebyn. I'm a pup, bark, bark, but you already know that because Bearly just told you.
That's right. I did. All right. Well, a quick update real fast. Cassidy Civet, remember her?
I do remember. She was great. She was it 3 weeks ago, I think?
So after we did the interview with someone else whom I can't remember at this point, we talked about television stuff and we talked about Sabrina the Teenage Witch, the new show on Netflix. Actually, it's been 4 seasons now. And she contacted me and she said, hey, I just want to let you know I was an extra on that show.
Oh, cool. Really?
And yeah, she's in the background at the high schools and the normie scenes. So if you know what she looks like in her human form, then look for her in the background of the Sabrina the Teenage Witch series on Netflix.
I remember her talking about how she's been in extras in lots of things. So I guess that's not too surprising, but there it is.
So how's your tail?
My tail's great. Tail wags all over. He does keep getting caught. I'm doing better with that. But I don't think he minds being caught because he still wags all over and everything. My technique, I've been working on it. I've been improving it. I don't know. Maybe sometimes tail just likes to make me feel good and let me catch him these days. I'm not really sure. It makes me feel good about myself.
That's good.
In fact, I've been catching so much that I get some fluff in my mouthy, and that's kind of, I have to spit it out and stuff. But it works. It works.
That's good. That's good to know that you get fluff in your mouth.
It's a very important thing to know about. About for our 3 listeners.
That's right. We have 3 now.
We have 3 now. And that's pretty amazing and awesome.
So I understand you've had some pajama issues this week.
Not as bad as before. So you might remember, what was it? A few weeks ago, I told you about my PJ dramas I had been having. So I can give you an update, a pup date, as it were. So I'll just read the last 2 entries. So that include the newest of the oldest and the newest.
The newest of the oldest and the oldest of the newest. Okay. All right. Take it away, Taebyn.
The last entry that I would have read to you, I had tweeted about this and so compiled it into a journal. The previous one, let me remind you of it. It was on May 23rd. Of this year, 2020. It went, wow, it's been quite a morning. So after long debate with self, I decided to put current PJs in the wash as it was efficient with what was already in there. And so I decided to go with dark wolfy PJs. But then I couldn't find either my dark or my light wolfy PJs anywhere. I found my polar bears, but no wolfies. They weren't in the laundry, and I was starting to get quite a concern. But finally, I found both wolfies in the dryer, so crisis averted. I have my dark wolfies. What a morning. So that was the most recent that I had told you about in the previous podcast. And so this is yesterday's. I tweeted and added it to my journal. So today I decided to change from dark wolfy PJs into polar bear PJs, as it had been a while since the polar bears. It turned out that white wolfy PJs were in the laundry anyway, so it all worked out. Hashtag pup PJ saga continues. And that's where we are with that.
Well, that's great.
It's not as dramatic as it has been, but it's working out. We'll see how the saga, the story unfolds.
Folding stories like folding laundry. So have you watched anything new on television this week?
I have, actually. I started Space Force.
Oh.
Yesterday I started episode 1. Today I saw episode 2. And that's pretty good. I'm liking it. I was surprised to see how many known people there are. I mean, of course, there's Steve Carell, which is amazing. But there was John Malkovich. I did not expect that.
That was very unexpected, yes.
It was. And then some other familiar faces. I forget their names. They've got a pretty good cast. So for our 3 listeners, check out Space Force.
Check out Space Force. I haven't watched anything new this week. I apologize to everyone that I don't have anything new to watch. It's been a very busy week.
It has been, oh my fluff. It's been so busy.
I see that Paco Panda is our guest today.
Yes, I'm so excited. It'll be awesome to talk to him.
Yeah, and he's from Mexico, and he's a great artist. He drew a picture of you at Last FC.
He drew that during my StoryTime with Taebyn panel. It was so amazing, and he gave it to me at the end, and it was so awesome. If you look on my Twitter, I posted it there if you want to see that picture.
Awesome. We're going to call him up, and we're going to get to talking to him.
Okay, I'm so excited. Wag, wag, wag.
Well, welcome, Paco Panda from Mexico, I believe.
Yay!
I'm Paco. I'm a panda. Thank you so much for inviting me. I'm one of your listeners. I don't know how many you have.
Oh, thank you.
It sounds like we have 3 now.
We have 3 now. Now, because of you, we have 3, Paco. Thank you so much.
Well, I always thought I was one of the only listener you had, the one listener.
Oh, maybe you were the one from the beginning.
Yeah, probably.
We'll just say you're the one panda.
There can be only one.
There can be only one Paco Panda, and here he is.
So, Taebyn, do you have some questions for Paco?
I do. Thank you for asking, Paco. I would like to ask you some questions. Would that make you happy or sad?
Very happy. Actually, very happy that you are asking me questions. I'm very excited.
Well, then I'm wagging all over the place because I'm happy too now. As we've already said, you are from Mexico. You're a Mexican panda. And where specifically are you, like, general region in Mexico are you from?
Well, originally I am from Texcoco, a very small town in the state of Mexico. But currently I'm living in Guadalajara, which is the second biggest city in Mexico.
Oh, wow.
And the number 85 in the world, something like that.
Oh, my Lord. I had no idea. So how many people are there in that town, that city, that metropolis?
Guadalajara, I have no idea. I think we are 4 million. I have no idea, really.
That's like quite a few anyway. So you're this amazing artist. I love your artwork. I still am honored that you drew that little thing for me at, what was it, FC this year when at my panel. That was amazing. So when did you first start drawing?
Yeah, actually that drawing was really fun to do. I can talk about it later. But yeah, when I first start drawing, because I can draw. That's a really hard question to answer, because as most people in the world, I started when I was a little cub, but the difference is that I never stopped drawing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, anyway, I don't think that's a fair answer, because despite I have been drawing all my life, I never took it seriously until I was 16, when I was finally interested to look my drawings slightly good and started studying more technical aspects. Thanks to magazine that was published in Mexico, because back then internet had really low information, so we couldn't find tutorials or a lot of acknowledgement like we can do nowadays. There was a magazine back in Mexico that was Dibujarte. The title is like a pun of drawing and arts, but in Spanish.
I see. Okay. So without too much internet and other resources, of course, I assume you just had to, in the beginning, just learn on your own, just keep drawing and keep trying new things and seeing what works and don't work and all of that good self-learning process.
Yeah. Also, I enjoyed a lot copying many characters that I like to draw. I was very inspired by Disney mainly.
Oh, so Paco's a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Is Paco an original panda, like from somewhere else?
Paco was original from somewhere else? No, not really. Maybe I started drawing Paco because I wanted to include myself in the stories of Tailspin. Tailspin was really important in my life for me. I was kind of obsessed with that show, especially with Kid Cloud Kicker and Baloo the bird.
Cool.
I wanted to be part of that world in my imagination. And so I created a new character that was supposed to be me. And all this was even before I was a furry, or discovered that I was a furry, because I think all my life I've been a furry, and I didn't notice until so many years later.
So what is your favorite? So you have different characters then. You have yourself, and I've also seen you have other characters. Like just today, I noticed on your Twitter, you have a new character. What's his name again?
A new character?
I think he's a new character. You drew him anyway. Maybe he's an older character. He had glasses. I think he's a lemur or something. I forget.
Oh, no. I think you saw Luther. Luther, that is a ferret, but he's someone else character. Yeah, it was a request from Patreon.
Oh, well, it was amazing request that happened.
Hey, well, but I also enjoy listening to your voice. It's kind of fun.
Well, you're so nice. You're the nicest, Panda. So we have 3 listeners, but one of the listeners is here. So to our 2 other listeners, isn't he the sweetest Panda? Yes, he is.
I'm not. Blushes.
He's so sweet. I just want to eat him up. Just
eat. It's dinner time. What is your favorite character of your? You have your own named characters though that you've created. What is your favorite character to draw?
Well, that's very hard. That's a really hard question because 2 of my favorite own characters, my original characters, are Art and Vero. That are the main characters from my webcomic Art and Vero.
Mm-hmm.
They're a fox and a raccoon. I love them so much. But I think my favorite character to draw is, of course, my panda, my persona.
That makes sense.
Yes, of course, totally. Because I've been drawing him since I was 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
Way before knowing what the furry fandom was.
Yeah. Just like you said that you think you've always been furry. Well, that's kind of an indication right there, I think.
Yes, because I back then I didn't say, hey, this is my persona. No, I was saying this is me. This is my representation of me. It's like me, but as a panda bear. But yeah. I really enjoy drawing that panda. But nowadays I realize that it's not precisely the representation of myself. I want to be him more what I want to look, what I would love to be.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
He's very energetic. He's very cheerish, very, very happy. I don't know. I really want to be something like that in person. So it is.
But
like oh, well, thank you. I try. Maybe it's because you know me, Panda.
It's true. How long have we known each other? I was just trying to remember. I think I met you at my first TFF, which would have been, this year was my 3rd year, so 2019-18. So 2018, I think I met you, but we never really knew each other until, I don't know when it was.
Yes, I remember seeing you at TFF 2018. Mm-hmm. I don't know why I remember you so well. Like how your character looked like and how crazy you were acting. But I met you officially at Antro Norwest 2018.
That's right. Yes, I remember that. Yes, that fateful con when we met for official stuff. I don't know.
Mainly because I watched you with that crispy chicken Nami Nami Tots video, and so on the talent show you're playing the Rye of the Kaiser.
Oh, you saw that. Yeah, I did that. Yep, that happened. Well, I'm glad that you liked it because it could have gone either way. So what is your biggest piece that you've drawn? So I've seen a lot of your, little fun little works and stuff, but what's the biggest you've made?
Like the biggest in size?
Yeah, like in size and or in the most complex. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for.
Well, in size, there was a guy who wanted me to make a mural in his house.
Oh,
but the problem is that guy is in Seattle, and I'm not in Seattle. I'm in Guadalajara.
Yeah, that's far apart.
And painting a mural will take me so many days, and I would have to be staying around the area for so long. Mm-hmm. But what I offered him instead was making the biggest canvas that I could fit in my studio, mm-hmm. because my studio is not so big. So it was like a 25 and 50 inches canvas. Mm-hmm. And I painted with acrylics and oils. It was a big, huge frame, and it has been the biggest I've ever done. I had to roll it to transport it to Seattle.
But it got there okay and everything, and
yeah.
Good.
That's very okay. But the biggest, I consider the real biggest Once I made an illustration for the starting season of the baseball Major League.
Oh, wow.
With around 30 characters that were representing each team from the league.
Mm-hmm.
But currently, I'm working right now. This is a spoiler. I'm doing what probably will be my biggest piece, and not only for quantity of characters, but also the most time-consuming and very ambitious one.
Uh-huh.
I'm doing the whole representation of the world by more than 100 furry characters, real personas, that will represent our planet without borders, showing our unity as a community. Cool. And showing how diverse we are. And I'm planning to make a video about it. I haven't planned this yet, but the goal is to donate this piece. That it could be auctioned and donate all the money to a charity. I really don't know when exactly I'm going to finish this piece, but it's for sure I'm going to take a while.
That's pretty cool. And that's right. This is the project you tweeted about just the other day.
It was really difficult for me because people... Well, I had requested that people could send me their reference, and I thought, okay, I'm going to need around 100 references. So probably if I tweet it, I'm going to get those 100. But I received 1,900 references.
Oh, my cow.
I'm going to pick only 100.
And that's going to be a project right there just to do that. Wow.
It's already started. I've been working on it every day now.
And it's a really cool idea. I like how you're doing something kind of for the fandom and to bring us all together and remind us how diverse, but also how alike we are in our, community and wanting to be together and the whole family aspect and everything. So that's really cool. I like that. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you. Well, this is actually a goal that I have with the art. I don't want to be just like an artist as a job, because my job is being an artist, but I don't want to be just like that. If I would be working on a studio or something, but I really want to give a message to the world with my works. So sometimes I don't charge for my work, even if that's not very convenient for me, but I really want to spread a positive message to the world. Some way.
That's possum. And by possum, I don't mean the little rodent that runs around on the ground. I mean possum. So, Paco, where can we find your artwork?
You can find my artwork in every platform. I think mainly on DeviantArt, Instagram. Mm-hmm. I think the easiest way to scroll to all the drawings I've done is in my Telegram channel. That it is panda_Paco, same as my Twitter. I think that's a really easier way to scroll to all my drawings that I've done.
Okay, cool. You mentioned a web comic. Where can we find that?
Oh, yeah, the web comic. That's important. I have a web page that is artbiro.comic.com. Biro is spelled ARTBIRO, comic.com.
Okay, cool. I'm sure I've seen it before, but I'll have to go check that out again. And so you mentioned before, you do commissions and things like that.
It's funny that I can say I do this for a living. In all of my networks, I always have the sign, commissions closed. This is mainly because I've been able to reach the point where I'm living thanks to Patreon, thanks to all my patrons. So most of my pictures you see me sharing online are Patreon rewards, and that makes me focus mainly in my own personal projects, like this huge piece that I'm working on, and not depending of taking commissions. Also, I can have the joy of drawing gifts for my friend. If you want the spoiler, I'm drawing right now. I'm drawing both of you. Yeah. Bearly and Taebyn, yes.
I'm just going to forget that so that I can be surprised.
Because I have these problems. Since I was in school, I couldn't pay attention to something or being only focused in any particular thing if I'm not drawing. Brought me so many troubles back in the school with the teachers. Also, you could notice that exactly as you mentioned it, at Further Confusion this year, when I was in your panel, you were reading bedtime stories and I was drawing you.
Yes.
Probably it's not a problem anymore. Probably it's more like a skill. Back then in the school years, it was a real huge problem because I couldn't pay attention to the teacher, what they were saying. If if I was not drawing, and teachers saw that I was not paying attention.
Yeah, no, I can see the kind of disconnect there. It's like, no, I got to draw this if I'm going to listen to you. Like, but how can you listen to me when you're drawing? Being from Mexico, is there a large furry fandom down there?
Oh, yes, it's a really big furry fandom here. It was thanks to the furry community that I found, the Mexican furry community that I found the furry fandom. We've been always so many people in the fandom. Actually, we have 3 furry conventions here in Mexico, including the largest furry convention in Latin America, in general, in all the Hispanic-speaking countries. And I'm very lucky that largest furry con is my local one, that it is Confuror here in Guadalajara.
It's local, so you go to that every year, I assume.
Yeah, and it is in October. Last year we had 1,200 attendees. It was crazy.
Okay, yeah, that's not bad.
This year is not canceled yet.
No, we'll see how it goes. How and when did you realize that you're a panda? I mean, I guess you really actually kind of got into that, but what do you think in the very beginning made you realize, okay, I'm panda? Even when you were 9 years old, even before you discovered the furry fandom and knew what furry was, something must have told you panda, or did it just like happen, or how'd that come about?
Yeah, that was in 1998. Yes, I was 9 years old. It was so way before knowing about the fandom. Thanks to the Tailspin show, I was very upset with bears. It was until school trip we went to the Chapultepec Zoo in Mexico City that I saw panda bears in person for the first time. They're so pretty in person, very different than looking photos or documentaries about them. They're really pretty bears. And from then, I started drawing a panda character that was included in my imaginary Tailspin stories. That was the representation of myself, and I researched a lot about pandas and bears. So, it's more than the half of my life I've been a panda bear, so I've never changed my persona. So yeah, it was thanks to that school trip that I realized that I was a panda.
Cool. Of course, you've gone to cons. When was your first con?
Well, I joined the fandom in 2008, but my first FurCon was until AnthroCon 2015.
Quite a while later.
Yeah, it took a while since I joined the fandom until my first FurryCon. It was because all the cons and cool things were only in United States or Europe. I didn't have the American visa back then. Really, really hard to get one as a Mexican.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but it's really, really hard as a Mexican to get an American visa and be able to enter the United States. I finally got it in 2014, so my first FurryCon could be AnthroCon 2015. And also that I had to wait until having a job to be able to pay me a trip to a foreign country. It was my first time seeing more than 2 fursuiters at the same time, and it was very awesome.
There were more than 2, I bet. Quite a few more. I've been to AnthroCon only once, but yeah, there were quite a few there. What's the biggest FurCon you've been to?
Well, the biggest, it was MFF. And last year was definitely the biggest that I've ever been. 11,000 in one single convention. It was very crazy.
I heard it was about 11,000 or a little bit more or something. That's like a small city.
Yeah, I think we are more population than the city of Rosemont has.
Uh-huh. Wow.
Also, I realized that I'm enjoying each time more the smaller convention than those massive ones. MFF is getting crazy and kind of stressing. Kind of sad that I can barely see my friends. And if I see them, it is like only 5 minutes and I need to run somewhere else. I enjoy small cons. For example, last year I went to Fure in Edmonton, Canada.
Oh, uh-huh.
And it was very chilling and enjoyable. Also, the furs from Canada are very nice and kind.
Yeah, I've heard that it's a good one. Yeah,
it is a really good one. Also, very small convention here in Mexico. That the name of it is FurCan. It is in Puebla, Mexico. It is one that feels more like a meeting more than a convention. Yeah, there are panels, artist alley, even competition, but the place is very small and we are less than 200, and we can just go to a restaurant and spend time with many guys and meeting new friends. Something that is kind of such impossible at big cons like MFF.
I haven't been to MFF, like BLFC, AC, things like that. They're pretty big, and I know what you mean. You've got a schedule to meet your friends. You can't just be walking around and expect to see them and stuff. I know you've been guest of honor at one or more FurCons. What FurCons have you been guest of honor at?
It was only one.
Oh, it was. One.
Yeah, it was only one. It was Megaplex 2018. And I'm still surprised one convention considered me to invite me as guest of honor. I don't think that will be repeated in the future or something. It's not like I'm very influential or anything.
I think you should be at more. I feel the same way. I've been guest of honor at one small fur con, and I was very sort of like, why would you do that anyway?
Well, I also think the same. I really think you deserve it.
Yeah. Oh, well, you're sweet. So how many cons do you typically go to in a year then?
I'm a crazy panda. I usually go to 8 to 10.
Oh my fluff. That's insane. We were interviewing Giraffe just the other week, and he was saying how he goes to 8 a year. And me, the last few years, I've gone to 6, and that's a lot. So 8 to 10, that's just crazy, Panda, like you say. So is there anything else you'd like to share with us or like us to know about you?
I don't like to be talking only about me. I want to take advantage to say to all your listeners, your 2 listeners.
My 2 other listeners, yes.
Other listeners, to follow your dreams, no matter what's your discipline, no matter if you are doing something artistic or technical or anything, and do whatever you do with a lot of love and a lot of passion, and try to make it for making slightly good for this world.
I agree. You're a follow your passion panda, and I'm a follow your passion pup. I agree with you. You got to just do what you love, and that's the important thing.
Oh, wait. Do you know how to say bark in Spanish?
I think you told me once, but I do not remember. You should remind me.
It's wow, wow.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, maybe you didn't tell me that because I think I could remember that. Whoa, whoa.
Whoa, whoa.
Whoa,
whoa, whoa, whoa.
If you come to Mexico, you need to change your motto and say, "Hi, I'm Taebyn. I'm a pup. Whoa, whoa."
Whoa, whoa. Yeah, not bark. Whoa. It's like, it would be like mind blown, like a total crazy shift of, I don't know, something, shift of the fluff.
Well, Paco, thanks for joining us today. That was awesome. You are our second international guest. And so I guess that really makes us a truly international podcast. Yeah. I'm so excited about this.
Wow. Yeah, right, because we had Cassidy from Canada the other week, and so it's like we've got a north and a south of us now. That's amazing.
We've got all of North America covered.
Woo-hoo. The 2 countries that are making a sandwich to yours.
That's right.
Wow, wow. Or how does it go? Wow, wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, that's correct. Yes.
Yay. Good.
Well, thanks for joining us so much. It's such a pleasure to have you on our show. We really enjoy it, and we appreciate you taking time out of your life, your busy life. I was actually looking at your art and biro comic while you guys were talking. It's interesting because Google. Do you publish that in Spanish?
Yeah, actually, that comic is in so many languages. The main language is English, of course. I wrote it in English, but I translated myself in Spanish. But suddenly, someone from Ukraine told me that he wanted to translate the comic in Ukrainian, and then someone from Germany wanted to translate it in German, and now the comic is in Chinese, Japanese, Korean, even in the language. I don't remember the name of the language. Oh my God, I'm so stupid.
Wow.
From Indonesia.
Wow.
That's awesome. That's actually kind of cute. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really awesome. So thanks again for joining us. Okay, wow, that was amazing. I'm looking at the picture he just drew. He said he drew a picture of us while we were doing the podcast. I'll make sure that I post it. But oh my God, that's incredible.
I know, that's so cute. He did while we were doing the podcast, and he just sent it to us, and it's like a really good picture. I am so gonna tweet this.
Oh, definitely. Let's move on to our next section.
Okay, which is
5-minute furs for fun. So this is a chance for anybody to be on the show. We posted this. I'm going to wait 10 minutes, and if nobody signs in, we'll move on with our podcast. If they do, we will chat with them for 5 minutes. 10 minutes later. Time is up. No one decided to join us. It's too bad. So sad. We'll try again. You know, you can't do something new if you don't try. You know what I mean?
It's true.
Let's do something different. Let's have you tell us a bedtime story.
Well, I can do that. I'm so glad you had this idea. I'd like to read you the story of the 3 billy goats gruff, but I'd like to do it in a slightly different fashion. If any of you furs out there have seen my Storytime with Taebyns, you know that sometimes I like to read things in a quote-unquote politically correct manner, and I'm not a political pup, but there's these politically correct ways to read stories apparently, and I'm not sure what that means, but I read them anyway. So the version of this story is actually called The 3 Codependent Goats Gruff. So let me read it to you, and here we go. So once on a lovely mountainside lived 3 goats who were related as siblings. Their name was Gruff. That is their last name. It wasn't like they had a bad name or anything. And they were all a very close family. During the winter months, they lived in a lush green valley, eating grass and doing other things in a naturally goatish manner. When summer came, they would travel up the mountainside to where the pasture was sweeter. This way, they did not overgraze their valley and kept their ecological footprints as small as possible, or hoofable, as the case may be. Not possible. Okay, that was just me. It wasn't in the story. That was just me. To get to this pasture, the goats had to cross a bridge over a wide chasm. When the first days of summer came, one goat set out across the bridge. This goat was the least chronologically accomplished of the siblings, and thus had achieved the least superiority in size. How politically minded is that? When he reached the bridge, he lashed on his safety helmet and grasped the handrail. It's apparently a dangerous bridge. But as he began to cross, a menacing growl came from beneath the bridge. Over the railing and onto the bridge leaped a troll, hairy, dirt accomplished, and odor enhanced. Okay. Yard! Intoned the troll. I am the keeper of this bridge. And while goats may have the right to cross it, I'll eat any that try. Okay, Mr. Troll, I say. But why, Mr. Troll? Bleated the goat. Because I am a troll and proud of it. I have a troll's needs, and those needs include eating goats. So you better respect them or else. He makes a good point, doesn't he, that Mr. Goat? That Mr. Troll?
Mr. Troll makes a good point.
Yes. The goat was frightened. Certainly, sir, he stammered. If eating me would help you become a more complete troll, nothing would please me more. But I really can't commit to that course of action without first consulting my siblings. Will you excuse me? And the goat ran back to the valley. Next, the middle sibling goat came up to the bridge. This goat was more chronologically advanced than the first goat, and so enjoyed an advantage in size. Although this did not make him better or more deserving as a goat, of course.
Of course.
Of course. He was about to cross a bridge when the troll stopped him. Nature has made me a troll, he said, and I embrace my trollhood. Would you deny me the right to live my life of a troll as fully and effectively as I can? Me? Never! Exclaimed the goat proudly. Then stand still there while I come over and eat you up. And don't you try and run away. I would take that as a personal affront. He began to invade the goat's caprinal space. Caprinal. That's caprinal? A word that I just read.
Wow. Caprinal.
Okay. Caprinal. So, it's not only, it's the space is caprinal, so we're talking heavy core, hard duty or something.
Obviously.
However, blurted the goat, I have a very close family, and it would be selfish of me to allow myself to be eaten without asking their opinion first. I have respect for their feelings too. I would hate to think that my absence would cause them any emotional stress. Go then, screamed the troll. I'll rush back here as soon as we reach a consensus, the goat said, for it's not fair to keep you in suspense. You're too kind, sighed the troll, and the goat ran back to the valley. As his hunger grew, the troll began to feel a real grievance towards the goats. If he didn't get to eat at least one of them, he was determined to go to the authorities. Well, yeah, I mean, what else are you going to do? When the third goat came to the bridge, the troll discovered that he was nearly twice the troll's size, with large sharp horns and hard heavy hooves. The troll felt his physical intimidation prerogative fading fast. As fear turned his insides into jelly, I wonder if it was lime or strawberry jelly. I don't know.
Could be grape.
Could be grape, and that would be great if it were grape on the plate of the... Oh, for heaven's sake. Okay. The troll sank to his knees and pleaded. Oh, please, please forgive me. I was using you and your goat siblings for my own selfish ends. I don't know what drove me to it, but I've seen the error of my ways. The goat, too, got down on what passed for knees for a goat, and said, now, you can't take all the blame yourself. Our presence and supreme edibility put you in this situation. My siblings and I all feel terrible. Please, you forgive us. Wow, these are like compassionate goats or something.
Very compassionate goats.
Hurry. The troll began to sob. No, it's all my fault. I threatened and bullied you all, just for the sake of my own survival. How selfish I was. But the goat would have none of this. We were the selfish ones. We only wanted to save our own skins, and we totally neglected your needs. Please, eat me now. No!
Okay.
No, the troll said. You must butt me off this bridge for my insensitivity and selfishness. I'll do no such thing, said the goat, since we all tempted you in the first place. Here, have a chomp. Go ahead. I'm telling you, the troll said, standing up. I'm the guilty one here. Now knock me off this bridge and be quick about it. Okay, look, said the goat, rearing to its full height. No one is going to take away my blame for this, not even you. So eat me before I pop you in the nose. Don't play guiltier than thou with me, Hornhead. Hornhead? You smelly hairball, I'll show you guilt. And with that, they wrestled a bit and bit and punched and kicked as each sought to don the mantle of blame. The other two goats bounded up to the bridge and sized up the fight. Feeling guilty at not accepting enough blame, they joined the others in a whirling ball of hair, hooves, horns, and teeth. Sounds like a furcon, right? But the little bridge was not built to carry such weight. It shook and swayed and finally buckled, hurling the troll and the three codependent goats gruff into the chasm. On their way down, they each felt relieved that they would finally get what they all deserved. Plus, as a bonus, a little extra guilt for the fate of their others. The end.
Well,
indeed.
Who knew things could be that way?
I know I sure didn't. You learn something new every day.
Well, thank you for that story time. That was awesome. Or possum, even.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. I hope our 3 listeners enjoyed it.
I hope our 3 listeners did, in fact, enjoy that story.
And if we get a 4th one, I hope that 4th one enjoys it too.
Absolutely. So do we have any math stories today?
We do. Well, it's not a story per se. It's just kind of a fun, interesting math thing. So did you know that if you multiply any number by 9, it all comes back to 9. And here's what I mean by that. If you take any integer, any number, multiply it by 9, and then add the digits and what you get, you'll get 9 again. For example, 7 times 9 is 63. The numbers in 63 are 6 and 3. 6 plus 3 is 9. That's actually something I think a lot of people knew. But like, what if you took 26 times 9? 26 times 9 is 234. So 234. 2 plus 3 plus 4 is 9. Okay, well, what about 518 times 9? Well, 518 times 9 is 4,608. 4608. 4 plus 6 is 10. 10 plus 8 is 18. Well, that's not 9, but keep going till you get a single digit number. 1 plus 8 is 9. You could multiply big numbers. 78,261 times 9 is 704,349. So that's 704,349. Those numbers add up to 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. And you can do this with any number, and it'll all come back to 9. You could multiply a number by 9 and get like a 50-digit number. Just keep adding the numbers up. Eventually get 9. Isn't that cool? And I want to talk a little bit about kind of why it works, because it's kind of interesting. And maybe this is more of a nerd pup thing, but if any one of you 3 furs listening is a nerd fur, maybe you'll enjoy it too. It's actually just kind of interesting, I think, for anyone.
Wait a minute. Wait. A nerd fur?
A nerd fur.
A nerd fur. That's the first time I've heard that term.
It's the first time I have too. I just said it.
We have coined a new word.
We have fluffed a new fluff. A nerd fur.
Nerd furs.
Nerd furs. So there's this thing called the quote-unquote divisibility rule. This is just something that kind of helps you know if something is divisible by something. So for example, I think a lot of people just know that you can check if a number is divisible by 5. That is, if 5 goes into it, by checking to see if the last digit is 0 and 5. For example, the number 23 is not divisible by 5 because 3 is not divisible by 5, but I don't know, a number like 1,342,105, whatever. That's divisible by 5 because it ends in a 5. Actually, these sorts of divisibility rules for lots of numbers. So the divisibility rule for the number 9, and in fact the number 3, but for instance, the number 9 is that you're divisible by 9 exactly when all the digits add up to 9. And this is the basic reason why the whole thing, it all comes back to 9 works. If you take any number, just any number you want, add up all the digits, if that is a number divisible by 9, then the original number is divisible by 9. And it's not too hard to prove with basic quote-unquote number theory, so it's a branch of math. So anyway, it's pretty cool. And so there's these other really cool things. If you're interested, it's fun to play around with. If you go to Wikipedia and search for divisibility rule, you get a whole bunch of these. They've got a table of like a ton of numbers. The numbers 1 through 30 divisible by all those. So for example, you can tell if a number is divisible by 6, if it's an even number, and it's also divisible by 3. Well, you can tell if a number is divisible by 3 by adding up all their numbers, like I just said. So you can kind of combine these things, and it's just kind of a fun thing to play around with. They've got, I think, divisibility rules for like digits in their hundreds and stuff, like 123. I don't know, but they've got like a ton of things, and there are all different kinds of divisibility rules, and they're all kinds of fun. This proves that if you add up the digits to any number, that number will be divisible by either 0, 3, 6, or 9. So it's just kind of fun stuff to play around with.
Wow, that's amazing. That's the divisibility rule, not the invisibility rule, which is a Harry Potter thing, right? It's
a totally different thing. I think you could probably use the divisibility and invisibility rules together to like destroy the universe or something. I'm not sure. So we don't want Harry Potter to get a hold of the divisibility rule.
Or the invisibility rule. Which brings us now to our final segment, which is This or That.
This or that.
All right.
Okay.
I have 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I have 5. I picked 5 this week.
Crazy this week.
Crazy time. All right. So the first one, and it has to do, it's going to come back a little bit to our guest tonight or today. So our first choice is pandas or whales.
Well, I think I have to do pandas because obvious reason is absolutely. But actually, I would pick pandas anyway, actually, because they're all fluff and cuddly and they're fun. They're all around. Have you seen, there's just like fun little like GIFs and YouTube videos of pandas just rolling around and stuff, and it's amazing. And I've never seen whales do that. So that's a whale of a tale.
Going with pandas. Outstanding. Okay, the next one, flowers or trees?
I'd have to go, there's some pretty cool trees out there. Japanese maples, for example, some really nice pines and things like that. But I think I'll have to go flowers just because they smell all pretty and they're all pretty and stuff. And then I have this picture of a husky like standing up in a big purple flower bed. And he says, "You can't see me, I'm a flower." And it's adorable. So I think that's why I have to go with, I have an unconscious connection with huskies and flowers, and I'm a pup, so I like that.
Next, hamburgers or hot dogs?
Have to go, I love me a good pup dog, but I'll have to go hamburger because they're numb, and you put like things on them and it makes them numb, and yeah, I'm going to have to go hamburger.
So moving on to our next one, day or night?
Well, that's not as apparent as day or night, it turns out. I'd have to go day, definitely, because you can actually see things. And I like seeing things. Yeah, so I'll just go day.
Are you sure? Because when we go to cons, the night seems to be way more fun.
Yeah, that's true. Okay. So if you put it in that light, I guess it depends. So I guess I'll just have to go night then. And by the way, there's this wonderful fur. His name is Night Coon, and he's wonderful. So I'm going to have to say that. And so Night Coon, if you ever hear this, a shout out to you. Love you, hug you with pausies.
Last one, and this is going to bring us back around to the furry fandom.
Oh.
Lions or bears?
You're trying to trick me there, aren't you, Bearly? You're not just barely trying to trick me there. I'm going to have to go with bears.
Well, good.
It worked out.
Well, that brings us to the end of our podcast.
Well, pup,
We had another great time. I'm always happy to do this with you, Taebyn. It's a great fun time. So we're going to say goodbye, and we will talk to everybody. We'll listen, or everybody can listen to us next week.
Okay. Well, I say bark, bark, and we'll talk to you next time. See you next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Bark, bark.
Bearly Furcasting is an Injured Nerves studio production. All opinions expressed here are those of Taebyn and Bearly, and neither received any commercial compensation for their opinions. The Furcast is recorded and edited by me, Bearly Normal, aka Mike Began. Opening, interstitial, and closing music by Shane Ivers through silvermansound.com. Taebyn can be reached on social media at TaebynPup on YouTube and Twitter.